genes in the next generation. In other words, we're most attached to the people we share genetic history with. And as a society, we are too. Like, I'd be willing to speculate. If you look in Europe, in Northern Europe, like in Finland and in Sweden and Norway and places like that, those are the places that have the most socialist economies. Well, people share, taxes are high, people share the most with each other, and people are pretty happy to do it because they see their neighbors and the people around them as being fundamentally like them. You go to the United States, you go to Southern Europe, we're more of a melting pot, right? People don't necessarily want to share. And I think the reason is because people don't see their neighbors as being as much like them as they do in a place like Finland, where all 5 million modern Finns, came from 1,200 founders who came, whatever, in the year 800 or something.
Right. And I think that kind of makes sense, like that there's something inside of us where you feel safest taking care of your own. Is that what you're saying, kind of?
Well, you would like to think, well, we're all brothers, you would like to, in a lot of the world's religions, certainly Christianity has this idea, you should help everyone, you should share with everyone. In practice, though, people are most likely to help people who are like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that goes down to our DNA.
It goes down to our DNA, and it goes down to the way we divide people culturally. Yeah.
Yeah. At a scientific level, why do you find someone beautiful? Like, is it only visual? Most fellas enter the room wiener first. You know that. Knock, knock. Who's there? Wiener, baby. You know it. And Blue Chew is helping. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer, lasting. Like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. That's the truth. And guys, it isn't just about performance. It's about legacy, or third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. When you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. Bang, gank, 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 cock. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little bit of Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code Theo at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to bluechew.com for details and safety info. And big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress. We all feel it. Most of us do anyway. The constant need to keep going, to keep figuring it out, to create more, always on call. We're all that way. To battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but we can start small. That's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an app store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. And it's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, and you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/THEO. That's betterhelp.com/Theo. At a scientific level, why do you find someone beautiful? Like, is it only visual?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, it's not just visual, but vision is the dominant sense for beauty. So obviously, people are attracted to voices, right? And of course, that's something, it's not a universal, it's a cultural thing. Like, British guys come to the U.S. to get laid because American women hear a British voice and they just, they want to, some British guy could say, "Oh, fuck me on the floor."
Yeah.
Actually, I guess I'm doing a Scottish guy, but
that's fair, dude. Well, the Scots, the Scots will do anything on the floor, first of all.
But, and it's just, we love British accents in the USA.
Come colonize this vagina type of thing.
That's it. So, this is a thing. So obviously voices can be attractive too, but yeah, visual is really important. Smell is important. I know you were talking about this with Huberman, right? Weren't you talking about the dirty T-shirt experiment?
He may have mentioned it. My brain falls off sometimes.
Well,
But I'm just wondering, is there, what elements go into that attraction, that feeling when you find somebody, I guess attractive is more the kind of what I'm looking for instead of beautiful.
I think really the main thing it gets down to is we're attracted to people who seem like if we were to mate with them, we would have children that would be likely to thrive and survive. So the most attractive faces are the most symmetrical faces. People who have smooth skin are more attractive than people who have mottled skin, right? And there are various other things that go there. In other words, things that signal fitness, and I don't mean fitness in the sense of going to the gym. Mm-hmm. I mean fitness in the sense of being able to survive and get your genes into the next generation, sort of the Darwin way of saying the word.
Yeah, I guess that's
fitness.
what I mean.
Those are the things we find beautiful. When you're saying I find someone beautiful, most of the time you're saying, yeah, you look like somebody who would be good to mate with and have my children with. And the thing is, if you're gay, you still have that feeling even if you're not making children with people. In other words, that's such a fundamental human thing about attractiveness that these fitness signifiers like being symmetrical, having clear skin, being tall, being well-muscled, these sorts of things are, things we find beautiful, even if you aren't thinking about mating with that person.
Are there any scientific differences between straight and gay people?
Well,
does that question make sense, kind of?
Yeah, no, it's a fundamental question, and so, let's approach it a couple of different ways. So, one way you could say, well, how much of the trait of who you're interested in sexually is heritable? Do you inherit it from your parents?
Okay, so heritable means you can inherit it from your parents?
That's right.
And you can pass it down?
Yeah, okay. That's right, exactly. That's right. So, eye color, for example, is something we well understand that we inherit from our parents.
Got it.
Your mom's got this, your dad's got this. But most traits are not so defined that way. They're only partially heritable. They're only partially determined by the genes you get from your mom and your dad. So sexual orientation, turns out it's actually different for men and women. The best estimates for genetic studies are that sexual orientation in men is about 40% heritable, and in women, it's about 20% heritable.
So that means you could pass down gay from an adult to a child?
You could pass down gay or straight or bi or whatever you happen to be.
Really?
From a parent to a child. But keep in mind, what these numbers are. Like 40%, that's only 40%. That's not the whole story. That's still leaving 60% that you're not getting from the genes you inherit from your parents. But that still doesn't mean that 60%, part of that isn't biological. It's just not heritable. So, for example, we know that women who, for various different reasons, were exposed to testosterone in the womb or as they were young, because the adrenal glands secrete testosterone. There is a disease called congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which just means the adrenal glands get big and they secrete a lot of testosterone. So women who have that can be slightly masculinized in their appearance sometimes, and they're way more likely to be into other women sexually, right?
Which makes sense because you have more testosterone.
That's right. So that's not something you're going to pass down to your kids.
Got it.
But it's a biological way in which your sexual